So, we are here today at Butts Quarry to test out the new range of GASGAS machines. Now, if you've been living under a rock, they have been taken over by KTM. This is the first time I've ever ridden one. First time I've really seen one, because the last couple of years has been a bit ruined by COVID. So we've got motocross, we've got enduro, we've got trials, and we've got even their electric mountain bike range. So yeah, let's get cracking. So we've just had our sessions on the motocross bikes, and I've got to say, I forgot how fun motocross is. So they had three options for us today to try. We had a 1252 two-stroke, we had a 254 stroke, and we also had a 454 stroke. So this is the 450 here that I've just finished on. So for starters, the 125, as you can imagine, is so light, it's so nimble, it's so easy to throw around. The section of track we're using here was quite tight, it's quite twisty. It's quite muddy, it's not rutted properly, so it's very, very loose, it's very, very slippery. And the two-stroke was just so easy to ride. It took a bit for me to get used to because I haven't ridden one in ages. But when you do, just getting it singing, there is no better feeling. But then, when I jumped on the 254 stroke, that just hit the spot. The amount of usable torque it's got is just unreal. Like, I am by no means an off-road rider. I'm a bit rubbish off-road, don't do much of it. Like, I've got an enduro bike, but I don't use it as much as I'd like to. And it just makes you feel like a hero. It just finds grip out of nowhere. You can like launch it off of little jumps. It just hooks up so well. Like, that's the beauty of these modern bikes with this great WP suspension, with the wicked rubber it comes on as standard. It literally just makes you feel like a hero. And the 250 for me just really hit the spot. It had that just perfect amount of power where it would slide, it would like pick up the front end if you wanted to show off a little bit and have a bit of fun, but it didn't rip your arms off like this thing. Now this is the 454 stroke, and my god, this thing is a beast. So a lot of my riding I do is on the road. I'd liken it to a 1000cc sports bike and a 600cc sports bike. So the 250 was that bit easier, it was just that bit more user friendly. This thing, although it's got loads of user friendly torque at the bottom end, like it's really gentle up, and you basically just use first and second gear, and that covers you for pretty much everything you'll ever need on a track like this. But when you get above sort of mid-range and up to the top end, it just goes. Like, I didn't really have like arm pump or get too tired until I jumped on this thing. And trying to ride it hard, you've got to really understand how an off-road bike works, how it feels, how it moves about. And this thing was just a bit too much for me today. But jumping back on these has reminded me how much I love off-roading, and I can't wait to jump on the enduro bikes next. These GASGAS motocross bikes are the real deal. So we've just been out for the second session of the day, and that was an hour and a bit on the GASGAS enduro bikes. Now, I love a bit of enduro. I find it really difficult, I'm not very good at it, but it's so enjoyable. It's such hard work, and it's just something that really moves your body and it makes you think so much. We had like a little planned out route, which was quite nice, did laps of it, had a little hill climb in the middle, which I might have crashed a few times before I got it done, but I've got to say, these bikes are really impressive. As with all modern enduro bikes, they are literally so much, well, I'm talking for myself, they're so much better than the rider. They can do so much. We had Charlie Frost here, a official GASGAS enduro rider, and the things he was doing just was ridiculous. But essentially they've got their models here. I had to go on the 354 stroke, which I jumped on first, and now that was an absolute beast. A bit like on the motocross bike, the 450, the 350 was just too big, it's too heavy. I'm only small, I'm 5'7", and it was just an absolute monster to ride, especially with the wet rocks. Getting it from side to side and moving it like quickly last minute, it was a bit too much for me. Now, jumping a bit lower, I also had to go on this, which is the 302 stroke. Now that was a bit lighter, and actually I really enjoyed the two stroke on this, even though it was a big old beast still. It felt just that little lighter, that little easier, And even though you'd expect it to be really aggressive and just making all its power at the top end, it just seemed to work really well because the clutch is so light and delicate, and the way that the throttle response is set up, it made things really easy actually. It took me a bit by surprise because I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I was. So yeah, I really enjoyed the 2-stroke here. But for me, still, the 254 stroke was my favourite again. Just pipping the 2-stroke. I think maybe if I'd have jumped a smaller capacity 2-stroke, it might have made a difference. But I'm a bit new school, so I like to rely on all that torque. The 2-stroke was a bit easier to stall, and I did that a few times. So just having that a little bit more security there just made the job a bit easier. But yeah, the bikes are a lot better than I am, and I really enjoyed it. We've just been doing something a bit different. We've actually just tried out the GASGAS trials bikes. So we had a range, we had a 250, we had a 280, we had a 300, and it's so much harder than it looks. Like, just cruising around at slow speed, we learned a lot about the real technique of it and how to use the clutch with the throttle and the brake, and these bikes are so smooth, they are so easy to ride. But it takes so much concentration, it wears you out, and you don't think it does because you're just cruising along at a few miles an hour. Like, we did some more technical stuff on the rocks, and it's been absolutely brilliant riding them. But to be honest, I think this is where I've been most at my depth. It's all about ability and stability and balance, and to be honest, I just usually give it a handful of throttle and let the power sort it out. But these bikes are really capable. They sort of make things easier than it feels like it should be. Like, I was turning tighter than I've ever been able to turn, just doing figure of 8s. But for me, this isn't the best thing for me. I'd much rather be jumping back on their motocross and enduro bikes. But we've still got one more thing to try, so yeah, let's go and get it done. So for our last little segment, we were lucky enough to trial out the GASGAS e-mountain bike range. So these things have just been, well, they've taken them all by storm over the last couple of years. People can't get enough of them. They're not cheap, they are, well, they're quite advanced, they're quite mechanically advanced. They've got little electric motors which basically helps you pedal, and we were lucky enough to get a little go on them, and it was really interesting. I've never spent really too much time on them, but it was so nice to finish on these. Like, mountain biking, if you're interested in it, it's quite hard work, like when you're getting up hills and stuff, and these, it just gives you a pedal assist. It just makes life so much easier. They don't feel massively heavy either, and they've got nice little features like the seat adjustment, the brakes feel really strong. I'm by no means a mountain bike rider, but I thoroughly enjoyed them. Now, these are going to be an expensive toy if you're up for it, and for me, like the trials, I'd still bite your arm off for a motocross bike or an enduro bike any day of the week. But I really, to be honest, wasn't that bored about riding one of these because I'm a bit old school, you know, just pedal, it'd be fine. But yeah, I'm converted. These things they're pretty good. So we've just finished riding the full GASGAS range. We've been on MX bikes, we've been on enduro bikes, we've been on trials bikes, and we even got a little go on their electric mountain bikes, which is, well, they've taken the world by storm over the past couple of years. It's been amazing. Like, I don't do a lot of off-road riding, but I've learned a lot today. Like, these bikes are so easy to ride now. Whether you want to attack a motocross track or you're thinking of hounding like your nearest enduro place, you want to do some hill climbs, you want to do some technical stuff, you want to do some really slow speed stuff with the trials riding, or you want to just go and explore on the electric mountain bike, like the range literally covers it all. See, GASGAS is now taken over by KTM, so there is a lot of sharing within the platforms and across that and Husqvarna, etc, etc. So these bikes promise to be good, and they really did deliver. The bikes really have been mega. It's been one of the best days I've had in the office in a while, and I can't wait to sample even more on the range when it comes in next year. So yeah, today's been wicked. Thank you to GASGAS for having us along. It's my first time riding one of them, and it all felt very familiar. It was very easy, and I'm very impressed. If you're after a proper hardcore, savage, but still fairly simple and easy to ride motocross bike, enduro bike, trials bike, or e-mountain bike, they've got you covered. It's got a thumbs up from me.